I'm
Rah!
angry about taxes.
When did we all get this dumb? Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about taxes.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef. Come on, man. Use your brain.
The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now.
Hey, we're back. It's the Why I'm Angry podcast. This is the chef. I have Lady D here with us. And just going through the normal getting back into it routine here. Get on our X, Twitch, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, anywhere you get podcasts, we are podcasting. So get on, subscribe, like, share. Free, cheap, easy, best ways to help us out and get us going. If you can do that, we appreciate it. We also are on our website. We have whyimangry.com, and we have subscriptions there, about $1.25, and with Angry Patriot as the promo code, and you can get in and get a ad-free version of our podcast. And for like $2.50, you can kind of see a little bit of everything that we are looking at, different news things, some extra videos and stuff. There's a good interview with Honest Abe on there, and all that good stuff. Lady D, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good, Chef. Hey, listeners. Long time no see, no hear, all of that.
Yeah, it's been kind of even tonight, a little bit of lag here, a little technical difficulties, for lack of a better term, I guess. But we got a whiz bang show for you, and podcasting and all that good stuff is coming. So, lost my. All right, so we've been. I'm just laughing because we've been wondering where my daughter got. It's a nice sunny day. My wife just posted, sent me a message that nice sunny day came from Bluey.
Oh,
So yeah, she just always she just keeps saying it's a nice sunny day, nice sunny day, it's a nice sunny day. I'm like, where did she even get that? We kind of wonder sometimes where she gets anything, but because she comes up with stuff. All right, let me get on to the right page. All right, so things things have gone kind of crazy over the last month. In the Israel war, there's been a lot of back and forth on the presidential side of things, where the election side of things, where people are figuring out whether we're going to whether we're going to see President Biden actually even finish out and run. He didn't campaign at all. He didn't go out on any stage and go through the primary like most people will go to at least their state primary and stump and stuff like that. But yeah, we didn't see any of that. Honestly, on the election side of things, I'm kind of bored with it.
um, so why are you kind of bored with it though?
I'm kind of bored with it because I'm kind of just tired of hearing the same old story. There's nothing major going on. Trump has won so long ago that he's just sitting around doing his thing, like sitting in court, getting judged, being charged $1,000 because he speaks up against whoever and whatever he wants, and waiting for his possible day in jail because of contempt of court. And
Mm.
then And so all you hear is that. There was a little hubbub about who he was going to pick for his vice
Hmm.
presidential nomination, which
Hmm.
will be exciting, but really doesn't matter. Um, there were a couple on the list of his vice presidential, like what they what who they think is the short list, that I would be excited to see. But I'm pretty sure that those people are either not not really on the list or not going to be actually chosen. So it doesn't really matter. Um, I mean, the biggest thing we've heard lately, or this week, the big push has been that people are not they're not following Biden anymore. They're not going to
Really?
push Biden. Yeah, because the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation has actually pulled their funding for Biden, for the Biden campaign. That was one I saw come across my ticker about 4 or 5 days ago.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, whatchamacallit from the night show, the Daily Show. Um, I can't think of his name. He,
Not Seth Corbett.
yeah, not Colbert, the one that was actually on the first in the beginning, who's now back on like Friday nights or something. I can't think of his name all of a sudden. It just, but anyhow,
It's
he
not
just
Fallon or
came.
Kimball.
No, Fallon and Kimball are they're on other shows, but it's the same
No.
show. It's the Daily Show, like you said with Colbert. Colbert left like, I don't know, 6 months or 2 3 years ago, or I don't know, something like
Mm.
that. There was some other guy, and then they brought in. Fine, I'll look it up. Jeez. Um,
I feel like I can picture his face. I just can't think of the name.
yeah, I'm sure you'll. It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's freaking heck. Oh, Jon Stewart.
Hmm.
Yeah. So He came out 2 or 3 days ago and was like, "Hot take. I don't think Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden's too old." I'm like, "Hot take." I mean,
I mean, the
2 years,
ageism thing has been something they've been talking about for years, though. Like, he's
two
not the
years,
first one.
2 years ago, he fell up the stairs. I mean, getting on Air Force
Yeah.
One. I mean, he fell off a bike. You're supposed to be able to do that forever.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really heard. Unfortunately, I haven't been like, I've been busy with life, so I haven't really seen much other than I think
Right.
it was about a week and a half ago. I saw the guy who set himself on fire up there in New York, outside of the courthouse. Was it the courthouse or the park
I actually
in
didn't
New
even see it.
York? Yeah, yeah. It was like I want to say it was probably like 2 Wednesdays or Thursdays ago. Guy set himself on fire out there in New York in the
Oh yeah,
park.
the Free Palestine guy.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that what it was? Okay, I
that's
didn't know
what it
if they
was.
were trying to
Yeah,
say it was related to the trial that was going on or not. And then I saw something about Donnie has to pay some money
yeah, he's got to
for
pay a
something.
thousand bucks and $1,000 and $1,000
Oh,
every
I
time
thought it
he
was like
talks
a
about
million.
the trial. Well, they wanted him to pay a half a million or almost $500 million for his bail,
Mm.
and it's like it's the highest bail that that anyone's ever given anyone. The guy has Secret Service with him, you know, other than going to the bathroom, and I'm not even sure he doesn't have Secret Service in the bathroom with him all the
He
time.
probably does.
And, we're going to put a bail so that he doesn't run from his prosecution at $500 million. I mean,
I
they
mean,
basically said that was going to bankrupt his business, by putting that in there. So they ended
surely
up,
Donnie
there
has
was,
something saved in a coin purse for a rainy day.
Yeah, but his liquidity is not $500 million. That's the problem, is that no
Yeah.
one's ever had to pay that much money. Murderers, people, Madoff, none of those guys, the hedge fund guys that were actually trying to flee the country at the time of their arrest and had billions of dollars, have had to
Hmm.
pay. So yeah, definitely one of those deals where it's just like, this is a little bit of a stretch, but you know that was taken care of. I think they got it down to like somewhere around $500,000 or like $1 million or something like that for the bail. That might be what you had heard before. So,
Mm. Well, I mean,
so
ultimately, one thing about our media, they're always going to portray whoever paid
yeah,
their
I mean,
bill that
whoever
week.
they
So
right, whoever they
this
don't
week is
like.
the hate Donnie train. Next week is going to be the hate Biden train. And it's going to go back and forth. I mean,
Yeah, I think this week Biden got the hate train. They've been kind of pushing away from him, which I kind of thought that they were going to eventually. Anyhow, um, his numbers are terrible. Like, they're on the floor. I mean, if they give him the election with the voting machines and stuff again, it's going to be a riot. I mean, as bad as his numbers are, he's not even polling good with the African American vote. He's polling he's somewhere around like 20-30% with the Latino vote. It's like his like approval numbers are so bad, and then his actual voting, like, would you elect Biden votes, polls are just, I mean, I still I take it with a grain of salt, because honestly, I think that they harvest the ballots well enough that it doesn't really matter who you are. They get you to they get the votes that they need.
right.
But at this point, as bad as his numbers are, you can't make up, you're going to have to make up a ton of votes that maybe weren't real to get him elected. So, I mean, Cleveland County, Ohio's cemetery doesn't have that many people in it to vote. So,
Well, isn't Donnie still facing the trial down there in Georgia with the whole
that
voting?
felt no, the Georgia trial fell apart.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was going to go somewhere because of the way they got Rudy Giuliani and that, but the prosecutor just got brought up on charges of impropriety of some sort. It's been so long since I've actually seen the article that got brought up on that. The case is kind of fallen aside while this person gets the prosecutor gets prosecuted. Got taken like out of office and everything. Yeah,
So I
prosecutor
know
was
that she was like dealing with the case of I don't know what the proper term is. I can't think of it right now. Basically, she hired an attorney to work on the case that she was having a conflict of interest, I guess, that she was
right.
having that she had a personal relationship with. But I think the judge basically ruled like she had to stop, either fire him and he had to get off the case, or if she wanted to continue to prosecute the case, I guess she basically couldn't, is what I'd heard, but or she had to disclose some type of information or something of that nature. But I didn't realize that it didn't go through after that.
No, I think that if I remember right, which I'm going to look it up real quick here, but if I remember right, there was a ton of stuff going on about. Yeah, she's disqualified from the case. Um, and then yeah, the case against Trump is completely collapsing. So,
Wow.
is what I mean. There
But
wasn't there.
has it been dismissed?
I let me see. This was 9 hours ago. I don't think it's been completely dismissed, but a lot of what they're finding from can't get in that one. That one's a subscribe only. Thanks, Newsweek. I mean, the election fraud part of it is, I mean, they're basically saying that it's election fraud because he questioned the election, which why aren't we going after Hillary Clinton, who did the same thing? She actually sued the state.
But what law is that to? What law do you have to break if you're questioning the election? That's what I don't
Well, they're
get.
trying to say it was an insurrection. That is what they were trying to say in the beginning, is that he was trying to question the validity of the election and the validity of Biden being president. And so they were saying that he in some way was questioning the legality of the election, which he was, but that's kind of what the Constitution is set up for, that
Mm-hmm.
if you don't trust what your government's doing, then you're supposed to have you're supposed to be able to question with checks and balances, which is what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And go through the proper processes. They didn't riot and take over the Capitol. They didn't take over election boxes and start throwing election ballots into the harbor, or anything like that. But so that's her whole case, is that because they sued about the outcome, that they were questioning it, and that, which is why she hasn't brought the full case against Trump yet. Why she's trying to get all of his like campaign team and stuff like that, Rudy Giuliani and all of that, brought up, so that one of those guys crack, and then they go in and testify against him.
Well, like I said, we'll see what happens. Right now,
Yeah.
still too early to call it or to see.
I'm pretty much calling it, but just because I don't see it coming back, because she's almost she's gonna have to step aside, and I don't think anyone else wants that kind of fire at the end. They don't want to be shown as silly for bringing up a lawsuit that the judge is just gonna throw away. So, but I mean, we'll see. It may come, but I just don't see any teeth. I just don't see where the facts, which doesn't matter. They've sued him twice in New York State and taken money from him because of whatever. I mean, if I were him, I'd just demolish Trump Tower and just be like, blow it up and then walk away, mic drop, and then never go back to the state of New York. I mean, it would be kind of tough as president to not go back to the state of New York, but then as president,
he would definitely have to go back to New York.
Right. But if he gets rid of his holdings in New York, then whatever. But
he's just a
I understand.
old folks thing. Retire and go live in Florida somewhere near the golf course.
Right. But
stay out the way.
I'm just hoping he gets elected or somebody like him gets elected, so that my interest rates go back down for another couple years, so that I can take the equity out of my house and things like that. Because right now interest rates are through the roof. Can't do anything. I've made a good investment here, but doesn't matter when you can't do anything. It kind of handcuffs you to get to everything. So,
True story.
yep. So, I mean, this is good to start. We got a man caught on fire. We're talking about.
That thing was crazy how he caught himself on fire. Like he just poured accelerant on himself and lit himself on fire.
Yeah, shouted
They were
free
able to put him out,
Palestine.
but he died. Of course, he had like 3rd-degree burns. Like, golly. I will say the protests that the people have been doing, I'm all for the peaceful protests and all that, but don't, if people are, I know I saw something about like people were protesting, I think on the college campuses, a couple of different schools, they were doing that. And people were trying to like, the police was trying to come and disturb them. Like they were sitting there peacefully. And I think the protesters ended up like basically
That's the
pushing the
story you
police
got, huh?
away. Huh?
And I said, that's the story you'd heard, huh?
That's the story I heard. But like I said, I haven't been like in the media like that. I've been like
No,
life been
I
life and
like
things been
I
happening.
there
So
there have been a few peaceful protests, but the more and more I hear, the more and more the peaceful side of things is fewer and far between. I've heard a
hmm
lot more of the actual of actual violent protests where cars are getting burnt, flipped, poles are getting pulled down, they're obstructing roads and stuff like that. Um, and that kind of thing where people are getting harassed. They're canceling commencements because of the protesting. Because there's violent threats against the commencement uh things, the commencement ceremony. Sorry.
yeah.
And so I think that's where like I don't mind a peaceful protest. And honestly, I don't even mind if you're there to actually change something and you're getting in traffic or you're getting, you're blocking, you're getting your way, yourself heard by slowing the mix up. If you're destroying property, if you're out there, just out there to loot and rob and steal things, then you're not actually, then that's not a protest. That's illegal. And
hmm
you should be prosecuted. But like you said, honestly, um, free speech is free speech, no matter what you're saying. And um, I kind of figured with the whole Israel thing we would get into this, but even anti-Semitic speech, unfortunately, should be protected by the First Amendment. I mean, if it's not, then what speech is protected and why?
Well, I feel like as long as you're not threatening,
But who
you
gets
should
to
be protected.
decide? Who gets to decide what's not threatening? Because I could say, listen, you're sinning and you're going to hell. Is that threatening?
In my mind, no. In other
Well,
people's eyes, only in other people's eyes, yes, that
but
is.
I'm telling you that if you're not living the way that I say that is correct to live, then you're going to go to a purgatory and live there for forever in a burning flame place where, the worms eat you and never stop.
Well, that's the cost of sin.
Yeah,
However, I don't think that somebody's saying, but I think that somebody's saying, like, I'm going to unalive you should not be protected, or I'm going to do harm to you should not be protected.
because that's not free speech. That's a threat.
Exactly.
Right.
But I don't know. I think a lot of times in this world, people are very sensitive. You can't say some of the things you used to be able to say, even when I was growing up as a kid. It can be taken the wrong way or out of context, but
Well,
it's a lot of times it's just the truth.
but that's because they've changed the laws. They've made free speech less free because they've added the hate speech clause. They added
Right.
hate speech well, about what you. I guess you're a little older than I thought. I was thinking for a second, but than the youth that I normally am talking to.
You tried
But
it.
yeah, so in the early night or in the mid '90s, they brought the hate speech, and so in the beginning that was fine because hate speech was anyone who was angry at or was threatening a person that was protected. So, if you were a woman and you were yelling obscenities and stuff at them and saying how whatever, then that could be considered hate speech. It was mainly brought up because there was a gay kid that was basically beaten and tied to a barbed wire fence,
Hmm.
and he ended up out there for so many hours that he died. And he basically died like a crucifixion style death.
Hmm.
And so, but they couldn't, at that time, there was no hate crime law or anything like that. You could just, I mean, they could only die one death at the electric chair, or they could only go 1 or 2 life sentences. I mean, there wasn't, you couldn't put them on 3 life sentences because of hate speech or because of a hate crime. I mean, if we just prosecuted the laws that we were supposed to, then most of the time your intent doesn't matter. Being a hate crime wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter how bad the hate crime was because you murdered somebody. So let's prosecute them for murder. Full extent of murder. Send them to the execution. Boom, we're done.
Yeah, but that's one of the hardest things. Even as the person who enjoys watching trials, listening to trials, and even hearing lawyers say this, one of the hardest things to prove is murder because it's hard to prove intent.
That's what I'm saying though. If
Yeah.
you caused a person to die, then there's no intent there. The facts are person died because you caused it. Your
Hmm.
intent doesn't then matter. So murder then has a you know a legal standing. Whatever you get for murder, whether it's life in prison or whether 74 years or 26 years or whatever it is,
Yeah.
you get that. And if we stopped with the intent side of things, then if you murdered somebody, emotions out of it. Because really, do you want emotions prosecuting you? If you did, whether
Not
you
per.
if you accidentally killed somebody, do you want emotions prosecuting you? No, because
If I
you
accidentally
didn't.
kill somebody, no. But I would have to understand like what would be the circumstances because every crime is
If
different.
you meant to kill somebody, you don't want emotions prosecuting you, because then
You're right, but I don't know nobody that's ever killed nobody on accident. So that was
well,
a little
it comes up with drunk driving, or if you're you're in a car and you fall asleep or something like that, and you killed somebody.
true. But in my mind, I look at that a little differently, only simply because if you've been drinking and you make the decision to get in the vehicle and you decide to turn the car on and you decide to move the vehicle and then you decide to drive knowing that you have been under the influence or you're under the influence of something, then you deserve and you take someone's life, then you deserve everything that comes your way.
But
because
intent
you
says
made those decisions.
that you didn't mean to do that night.
But you did.
So it's
Because
not
was it
that
your
was not your
intent? What was
intent.
the
You didn't get in the car and intend to kill somebody. You got in the car and intending to get home.
but you understood the cause and effects of, if I get behind this vehicle and I'm incoherent, my mental state and physical state is now altered because I've now been drinking. And
But
I
because my
intended to go home, but on the way around the corner from the house, I killed someone.
right. No, and I
So
understand that. Like that, but that's what I'm saying is so the family of that person is going to say you could have stopped this was an unneeded death. I like this wasn't an
yeah,
accident.
unnecessary. Yeah,
So
yeah.
unnecessary, right. And so the emotions in an unnecessary killing are as high as any kind. And so you don't want emotions in that. You would rather be prosecuted by you killed someone, here it is, here's your punishment.
True. But
It's
I don't know.
and honestly, it's the only fair way to do it. So if you want if we talk about we want to be fair, we want to be all equal. Intent shouldn't matter. There shouldn't be first degree murder. There shouldn't be second degree murder. It should just be murder, and you get what you get. You don't throw a fit.
But what if let's say you shoot someone, and then after you shoot them, you realize what you've done. So you try
You're
to
gonna
assist and give them aid.
you're gonna do the
You don't
same
think
thing
that you should tap?
if you were drinking and driving. You'd do the same thing, right? Oh, I smashed into someone's. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be sober the second you hit that other car.
Maybe, maybe not. But
Maybe not. But it's the same thing with shooting someone. And
like if
you
I
come
shoot
to.
you and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't mean to shoot you. I mean, I'm sure there are cases where this has happened.
It
That's why
doesn't
I'm
matter. If
saying,
you shoot somebody, you intended to shoot somebody. Most of the
like,
time. Like if there's a hunting accident, that's an accident. You didn't,
right? It was an accident.
Yeah. But that's not intent to kill.
How come it's
That's not
not?
murder.
How come it's
That's an
not?
accident. What's that?
But why is that considered an accident? Why is that considered an accident?
Because there are accidents. Because like if you were in a
Right.
car accident and your daughter dies because you were driving, should you be convicted of murder there? It's not
That's
any
a tough
different
one.
because you
Or are you driving
caused the
erratically, or
death.
did somebody hit you? Did you cause the accident?
It does. That's what I'm saying. You were driving, so you caused the accident. It doesn't matter. You might have hit ice. You might have swerved from a deer. You might have hit a deer. And that deer was big enough to throw your car off the road.
I don't know. That's why I think that each situation, especially in our criminal justice system, is looked at case by case. And unfortunately, one of the things they do look at is the intent.
Right.
That's just what it
It's
is.
just hard. I mean, and that's what I'm saying though is who gets to decide that, and the more and more we give that decision to someone else, like with hate speech, we lose our rights. That's what I'm saying
Well,
about it. More than I really care about, the intent to murder someone and stuff like that. It's more of the illustration of, this is the intent. This is where it goes. And they even signed a
hmm
bill over the last 2 weeks that could make preaching the New Testament hate speech.
who signed that bill?
The House of Representatives
What is it in the New
in the United
Testament?
States of America.
What is it in the New Testament that is considered hate speech?
If you sin, you're going to hell.
So how is that? Because you're telling someone sinning is
Because
wrong, and
yep. You're telling someone that
and
what
the
they do
repercussions for that is going to hell.
and the way that they live is going to send them to hell.
That is quite interesting
But
because
it's not new because Canada already does it.
so if I'm a Christian and I live in Canada and I'm trying
If
to, let's say, like be how the Jehovah Witnesses go knocking door to door to gather people, get people to come to church, to come to Christ.
make sure you're wearing a white shirt with a tie, name tag,
If I say,
riding your bicycle.
if you keep doing that drinking and that smoking that you're doing, then you're going to go to hell. I go to jail for that.
You could, honestly, because of hate speech.
So
Because
how do you go about preaching the gospel?
that's the problem. Is that if you tell people that because they're gay, they're going to hell, or if they're sinning, even if it's not just like you're gay, you're going to hell. If it's something like you're gay, you're sinning, and sin takes you, that's hate speech.
But if a person comes up to me and says something against, like, negative about being a Christian, is that considered hate speech?
Not normally. Normally, we're not a protected people, even though we are the first protected people in the country. Like the Constitution protects the the Christianity and religion of any kind, honestly, first.
So I
It
think we
didn't
need to
protect
probably define.
it didn't protect women, it didn't protect races, it didn't protect ages, it didn't protect your sexual orientation, thank God. It didn't protect to protect any of that. It protected your religion and your right to practice whatever religion you wanted to first.
I will be intrigued and interested to know what is the government's definition of hate speech. That is what I'm trying to, so I can have a better understanding of how me telling someone or someone telling someone that if they do not stop sinning, they're going to hell. How does that fall within the definition of what hate speech means?
Hate
Because that's a little
speech
drastic.
is any form of expression through which speakers intend to vilify, humiliate, or incite hatred against a group or a class of person on the base of race, religion, skin color, sexual identity, gender identity, ethnicity, disability, or national origin.
So me saying, if you don't stop sinning, you're going to go to hell. That hits what exactly?
Well, your sexual identity, if you tell somebody that they're not following God's will and that they're going to hell because of that, that would be considered hate speech against a person of sexual identity.
So in other words, what this sounds like is they just want people to stop trying to spread the gospel and talk about God.
True. I mean, if you tell a Muslim that they're going to hell because they're following Muhammad instead of Jesus, because they didn't accept Christ as their savior, now you've spouted hate speech because their religion is a religion, and so it's protected.
That's bizarre.
That is
That's
hate
very
speech.
bizarre.
But honestly, if you say, I mean, it's, yeah.
This is why I say this world has become sensitive, and a lot of the things that you can't say anymore without someone taking offense to it. And sometimes just because it's the truth, people get offended by it. And it's not necessarily meant for you to be offended. It's just simply, this is the fact, and that's just what it is.
Right.
And we all know that there's a heaven and a hell that does exist, that is real if you believe in God. And scripture itself teaches us and
It's
tells us.
honestly real if you don't believe in God. If you know,
I
if it's
mean, I'm just
real.
simply saying it. I don't know who are what denomination or what religion are, or whatever it is that our listeners abide to or believe in.
Right.
So I'm just simply just putting it out there in general. But
If God exists, it's,
if
you know,
yeah,
there's a
if
heaven
you
or
believe
hell.
that God exists, you 100% know for a fact that there heaven and hell is real. So I don't know why the government feels like this, like they should be involved with me wanting to go and spread the gospel and do what I'm called to do as a Christian, and me telling someone, hey, if you do not stop sinning, you will go to hell. So it sounds like it's more of a control, trying to stop people from spreading what the word of God says. In my mind, that's what I hear.
Right. I mean, it's honestly, it's control, not just trying to control you, telling you being able to spread the gospel. It's control over every group of people.
Yeah.
So if we can keep a group of people, which could be, I mean, if you look, what are the largest groups of people in the country? Mega churches. I mean, Joel Osteen has a group of people of like 35, 80. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people he have follow him anymore. But he has a group of people under his, I hate to say control, but under
I would
his
say direction.
influence, under
Yeah.
his influence,
Yeah.
that follow what he says. Think about that. If he has, I don't know, he at one point he had what he's got the, like, what, the Superdome or something like that. It was like 100,000 people or
The
80,000 or
yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that he could fill, and he filled it, or he fills it pretty often. And so he's got to have 150,000 people that follow him easily. Well, just for the sake of that, there are five or 6,000 to 3,000 person churches within 15 miles of me here in Dayton, in the Dayton area. And that's just like, I'm on the north side. That's just like in the 15-mile circle around my house. There's easily 6 or 7 churches that have that. So that's another 10 or 15,000 people. So if you start to add that up, it's a lot of people that are influenced by a few people. And if those people get together and say, no, this isn't right, or no, I'm not listening, we're not listening to the government. I mean, think about it. The Jews killed Jesus because they thought he was coming to power in Jerusalem. He was rocking their control over the Jewish population. So what is the US government doing now? It's consolidating power. We've got a bunch of 70, 80-year-old people who can't barely put 3 sentences together in office right now. And we got some 20-somethings coming up that have been barbacks and bartenders and never held a job of actual anything in society, that are looking around going, we need to keep this power, because if we get ousted, what job are we going to be able to get?
Yeah. nonsense, crazy.
I mean,
Well,
we, we got we got Congress people like AOC who says I'm not a geopolitical expert, who has a geopolitical degree, has a master's in geopolitics. But has never been anything in the world except for a bartender and a senator.
hmm.
Better remember what you know real quick if you get ousted from your office.
Did the CDC come up with this recommendation for hate speech? Because they can't be trusted. They're the same people that said don't rinse your chicken.
don't wash your chicken.
Yeah.
The Center for Disease Control. They're having issues right now themselves.
Well,
They've accepted the bad medicine juju. There was the thing about Ozempic came out this week too.
oh my Lord, I am so tired of hearing about the Ozempic and the Mounjaro and all that. People are messing up their pancreases and their freaking bodies one shot at a time every day.
But
Like,
but we got to get less fat,
then get your
and
behind
and we
in the
can't
gym.
work out.
Go for a walk.
we can't work on it ourselves. That takes time and work
Like it's
and
unnerving
time.
because the freaking like the diabetics can't even get their freaking medicine because
Right,
people
because
are
there's
literally taking these shots trying to basically losing weight, and it's like I can only imagine how many of y'all are about to be having pancreatic issues because you were taking this shot. I can only imagine
uh
it. 7 years from now, the infomercial. Did you take Ozempic or Mounjaro? Like, it's on the
you
way.
you can be part of a class action lawsuit.
Oh, yeah, it's on the way. Like, y'all just go freaking work out. I promise you, when you work out, you feel so much better. You get those endorphins going. Like, ugh. Stop freaking
Get your
taking these shots and
serotonin
taking
levels
away the
up.
medicine.
That's
Yeah, like
right.
stop taking away these diabetics medicine. Like people need this insulin to survive. Like it frustrates me. That's like become like the new thing now. It used to be,
Right.
oh, go get the weight loss surgery. Now it's go get the shot.
Right. And
So
some people,
frustrating.
some like you said, some people need it, and they're it
Yeah.
does it shows its purpose. But if you're just like people aren't just getting the shot, they're getting the pump. They're getting like the whole insulin setup so that like they're not diabetic, and they're like, yeah, but
What are
if I
you
just
pumping into your system?
whatever they tell them to.
Yeah. I will say, earlier today we were laughing at work. One of my coworkers was like, "It's been 4 years, and the unvaccinated people are still living."
I don't
Well,
know how we survived. I don't know how I
yeah, I don't know
survived.
how we survived.
And you know what? My grandma died of Alzheimer's.
She was
Not,
vaccinated.
not, I don't know, but
Oh,
I didn't kill her, and I went and visited her because they
that's what I'm
said
saying. Did the
you're gonna kill
CDC
your
come up with
grandma.
this stuff? Because I don't trust nothing the CDC say.
Get yourself
Okay,
the shot because you're gonna kill your grandma. You're gonna kill.
right? I
Don't go
can't
home
visit my
from
loved one
college
at
because you're
their
gonna kill your
home,
parents.
the nursing
My parents are
home.
still alive. My grandma, she died of Alzheimer's.
The things they were putting out during COVID was ridiculous.
Right, right.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't people who died from COVID. That I'm not saying that there isn't somebody who died from COVID, because there were
For
some.
sure. There were a lot of
And
people, yeah.
there and And I'm not saying like I'm gonna say a lot of those people who died from COVID had major issues that they couldn't overcome with it. You know, there weren't a lot of super
Right.
healthy people
Pre-existing
who were
health
just like,
problems.
yeah, like if you had
Yeah.
if you had a respiratory illness and you got a respiratory virus, there's a chance you would have
Chances
died
are
of the
pretty
flu.
low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there. And if you're really upset about it, let's get upset with the U.S. government about it because we funded it.
Well,
So, and we're still funding it today.
unfortunately. I will say the most craziest thing, you think about the fact that COVID was literally 4 years ago and all the hype with I still wonder this thing I still do not understand. What was the deal with everybody buying toilet tissue?
Well, if you got stuck in your house, you wouldn't be able to go out and get toilet tissue. It's the same thing about every big snowstorm in the north. Or even in the I mean if you get in a snowstorm in the south, you're just effed anyway, so but any snowstorm that happens, you go out and buy milk, bread, and eggs. So you're just basically buying stuff that you can make French toast out of. Go get your French toast
Exactly.
supplies. Go get your French
Why not
toast
go buy the
supplies.
bag of
There's a
flour? Like
snowstorm. We got to get French toast supplies.
me, I'm going to the meat section
Right, right.
in the produce.
But I'm not waiting until they gouge us with the prices because it's snowstorm season.
Yeah.
I stock up during the year when I don't care about toilet paper. I'll poop outside or something and wipe my take a
I don't
shower.
understand
You
what the
know,
obsession with
whatever.
buying the toilet tissue was. Like, I don't get it. I don't get
I
it.
don't
And I
know.
feel like in the panic buying, that was one of the things I'm just like, y'all, if y'all just leave it, it's enough for everybody. Like, the world is not about to
Right,
shut down.
right. If
There's
we
no
all
way that it
just
can.
right.
Like, planes is
I
still
mean,
moving. Like, people, like, the world is not shut down. When they shut
right,
down aircraft moving, then that's when we should be
right.
concerned.
When transportation starts shutting down and other things, yeah, then you,
That's when
yeah,
we really should be concerned. As far as I'm concerned, the government is still making transportation move in the air and on the ground. We're
right.
fine.
I mean, we still had to ship out pet supplies, so I mean,
We were still getting shipments coming in.
Sparky was still getting fed.
If I say if they shut down any type of trucking institutions,
Right,
that's when we
right,
have something to worry about. Shout out to
right.
all the truckers out there
Right.
because they're still moving loads.
That's
We're
right.
still doing fine. Crazy.
uh yeah. That is a kind of a funny thing to think about that it literally is about 4 years from right now, right this time frame.
Yeah.
Somehow there isn't like a major drop in population. There hasn't been I mean no country has been wiped off the face of the earth yet. I mean yet. I mean there's still time for Palestine
Still be
and
TBD.
and Iran as much as they're poking at the Israel bear. Um, and there's still Taiwan and that country in the north that is fighting Russia, Ukraine. So there's still time this year for some country to be wiped off the map. But I'm going to say the odds are not that it's going to be COVID.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
So I'm gonna keep my bet off of that because I think that's pretty much a loser's bet. So surprising news. This to me was like the surprising news of of it. FTX. Do you know who FTX is?
No.
Okay, so they're a trading platform for cryptocurrencies, and Yep, cryptocurrency
Okay.
exchange platform, and they had like they were one of the big ones that were starting to try to streamline all the cryptocurrencies together, create a wallet so that you could carry, like a card for cryptocurrencies, and then
Were
have
they in
like,
the news like a couple of years, like last year sometime, like
oh
some the CEO
yeah,
being sued?
like 2 years
Okay.
ago, like
Okay.
2022, they collapsed,
Yeah.
and CEO John Ray III has worked extremely hard to keep himself out of jail and to figure out where all the money went because Sam Bankman Fried stole a bunch of money. He was convicted of um, basically took the money. Like everybody invested into this FTX thinking that they were going to be able to be traded on the market and get like Bitcoin traded on the stock exchange and stuff. And
Mhm.
and not more legitimized, but more streamlined or get it so that it was easier to be able to invest in. Um,
Mhm.
and instead of doing all of that, he just started buying houses and boats and things,
So he spent the people money.
companies. Yeah, he basically spent people's money. So they've basically over the last 2 years, this John Ray III has worked to track down. He owed, or the company owed, more than $8 billion in missing assets.
Mhm.
And so over the last 2 years, he has estimated that he tracked down somewhere between 14 and a half and 16 and a third, and at $0.3 billion to pay back the investors.
The people's money is wherever his assets are at. That's where their money is at. The people's
Right,
money is where whatever shoes he got sitting in the closet right now,
right.
or a
Well, and
vehicle
that's
in a garage.
and that's that normally what happens with that is that it gets seized, government gets its tax money back, and that's about all that happens. This
Mhm.
dude, with his company, has clawed back almost one. They said investors who 98% of customers, and most of the customers, because it was kind of a small index deal, that it was like a small exchange, it was kind of grassroots movement. Most investors were under 50,000 or 50,000 or less, and they're going to receive 118% of their investment. They're going to get
Hmm.
18% raise on whatever they invested into the company. For 2 years, that's not bad. I mean, you can't
That's not bad at all.
for a bank account, you can't get a 9% bank account unless you've got thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
where you're getting like a CD loan or something big. And then most of the time you're investing it long term, so you're not able to get it out or anything, which this kind of was a long term investment. For 2 years you couldn't get it out or anything because pretty much you thought it was gone. Um,
So
and
I
pretty
would
much
assume he's about to
that's
be
what
just bankrupt, dead broke.
I mean, he's been convicted of of bank fraud and things of that nature, basically theft. And so I think he's sitting in jail.
Well, may
Yeah,
his noodles
he's
be
been
forever
sentenced to
cold for the rest of the days of his
25
life.
years in prison. 25 years. He's kind of a young dude, so he'll probably get out, but when he gets out, there isn't going to be much for him.
Is he in federal prison?
Uh, yeah, because I mean, I would think so because it's a federal crime. Securities fraud is a federal crime.
Well,
He's 32.
oh, he's young. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. He's probably getting out, but investors and
You
lenders
never
short of
know.
$11 billion. I mean, like it. when it went down, it was like it crumbled. Like, it was like everybody was excited about it. Everybody was a part of it. Like, they had people like Tom Brady, Steph Curry were out there like pushing it and stuff like that. They were investors. They were like giving testimonials. Like, they had a Super Bowl advertisement. Like, it was big time stuff. And then it just like the federal government just like, nope, where's all that money, man? And he's like, don't got it. And it was funny because for like 2 years he was just like, or for like the beginning of it, he was just like, I'll have to look, and maybe someone stole it or something, or maybe it wasn't, it just like disappeared or something. I don't know. I just made some bad decisions. Yeah. You want to know where $11 billion went? You look at the properties,
Luxury, yeah, the vehicles.
Right.
That car that cost $7.2 million.
Yeah, he bought a luxury real estate in the Caribbean. He's been living lavishly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
DoorDashing, paying for private chefs.
He bought a AI company that hasn't really done a ton yet. Yeah, just randomness that whatever. But yeah, they said they've sold a bunch of the properties that he bought, that the company owned, basically. This AI startup, Anthropic. They've pulled out of some of the, like a bunch of, he had invested in a bunch of hedge funds, and so they've pulled out of a bunch of hedge funds and just recouped. So they've put this, because the company wasn't him, he was just basically stealing from the company. The company is still a company. I think it trades at FTX is still a traded company on the stock market, because it went, and that's the problem, is people don't realize that when you go live as a stock, that's when you get caught, because that's when the federal government actually starts putting their hand in your business. Because most of the time you're just like, oh, cool, I can run my business as whatever I want to do. I can take money out whenever I want because it's my business. But when you become a federally traded company, that means that you now are owned by everyone who buys stock in your company. And so then the federal government regulates that, because there's a lot of things you can do with all of that money that comes through that is not legal to do, that you would normally, you would maybe be able to get away with, or you would be able to do because you owned the company. So it's your money.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you don't own the company, you can't just randomly buy a luxury house in the Caribbean as an investment, because it's not your money.
It's my money and I want it now.
Want it now.
JG Wentworth. Is that what the commercial is?
Yeah,
it's my money and I want it now.
Yeah. So FTX is still trading at 1.83. So $1.83 per share or coin, because it's an index. It's a traded token. So
did you invest in that company?
I did not. I didn't have enough money to invest. I do know people who did. That basically, not a ton of money, but some money. And basically they've written their money off as gone. So now I don't know whether with this, if because they were part of the app or part of the that kind of investment world. If they get their money back now, I hope they do. But if not, I mean, I guess you've probably already written it off if it's 2 years, but it looks like at least somebody's getting their money back. 98% of them, anybody that was under $50,000 invested. So,
Yeah, while he eating his 3 hots on his cot.
in his federal penitentiary,
Yeah, and eating his top ramen. He's getting his breaks.
is uh yeah. So here's one about intent. So his friends, his attorneys, his friends, and his family had urged in latency during his sentencing trial or sentencing side of things, saying he was unlikely to reoffend. Should that come into play? It's kind of like I
Who
shot
said he was
somebody
unlikely
and
to
I went to sit.
reoffend?
I like what's that? That the guy who had already stolen billions and billions of dollars was unlikely to do it again. Well, I mean, for one, nobody's going to trust him to do it again, but
You know, he's not even gonna be able to be trusted around money. He might as well just become an entrepreneur at this point. If he ever gets out, because nobody's gonna trust him. Like no corporation will even hire him to control anything. Like they won't even trust him to be not to steal a pen on a desk.
right, right. You can't
Like,
even bag the groceries that you might steal
yeah,
the
you
groceries
might
from
steal
the
the plastic
customers.
bags.
That's right.
Yeah,
There may not be a pickle jar in that bag after you take it.
yeah. So I mean, we don't know if he's unlikely or not likely to reoffend. We hope that he's not. We hope that's the point of going to prison.
Right.
But sadly, though, the rate of what is it recidivism is pretty up there for a lot of people.
Right. I mean,
So we hope that he don't reoffend.
in the long term, in another 28 years when he gets out, maybe we'll all have forgotten about
By
him.
then, the world will be completely different.
Well, by then we'll
All
have
he had to do was do right by them people and their money.
digital currency, and we probably won't be able to spend our money anyway.
True.
So,
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the FBI didn't turn him into a CI.
yeah, I think he's too high profile for something like that. And
I mean, they did it with the one man.
I don't think he actually knew anything but what he was doing himself. Like he just was out there being himself, doing like if you read like the story, like this guy, let me see. Oh, the leniency side. Okay, yeah, this John Ray wrote, the CEO of FTX. The business he left on November 11th. November 11th. I guess it's not September 11th, but 2022 was neither solvent nor safe. One FTX customer spoke at sentencing, saying he'd traveled from London on behalf, blah, blah. They said that Bankman Frieds said he spoke to other victims just like himself who, well, I read that wrong. Anyway, they were saying somewhere in there that I saw, they said that basically he's living a life of delusion. Like he has no clue what he's doing. Like he doesn't realize that he's ripped off anybody. He doesn't. He sees himself as a victim in this whole thing. That he just made a mistake and he was
So
young.
They say that same saying when I'm a defendant, not me personally, but when there's a defendant who wants to play like he has mental health problems or he got PTSD, they say that same spiel too. I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even realize, you know what I'm saying? I got depression. The judges have heard it all before. Okay, let's get you an evaluation. Oh no, he's fine, judge. All right, you're competent to stand trial. You trying to tell me this man didn't know that he was committing a crime when he was
Right.
committing the crime? He
Right.
knew he was committing the crime. Come on now. He a bit what, a millionaire, billionaire? Stop it. Stop. Yeah. He knew what he was doing. A thief, so you tell me when a thief steals, they don't know that it's wrong?
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, basically, this is another spot where it says, um, somebody was sent out to the court, saying that Sam Bankman-Fried doesn't make decisions with malice in his heart. He makes decisions with math in his head. So
Whoever
he's
his
a so
publicist is, send him some flowers.
so he's a sociopath. Like he can disassociate from the people. But that's what that's what we've done with society so much lately. That's why me and you, we're not even sitting across from each other at the moment. But this is better than most people who just sit there on a typewriter and they can say whatever they want, but they're guarded because they're not getting yelled at in person for real. They're just getting typed at in all caps. And so
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't really matter. But if you actually had a conversation with that person, they would shrivel and crawl into a corner if you actually confronted them with any bit of truth or logic, because they're just spewing the rhetoric or spewing whatever they were told to say.
True.
And so this guy, honestly, he could be that kind of guy that he just sat in an office and said, "Look, if I get 1,000 people to invest $1,000, I've got $1 million." Isn't that
Well,
crazy?
I'm not gonna listen. Whoever his publicist is, give him some flowers because they definitely have wrote a very good comeback for speech for everything. They paid attention and they getting their degree. However, you and I both know that it is against the law and it's 100% completely wrong to take something that does not belong to you. That is called stealing.
Right.
And you mean to tell me that he done all this research, that made all this money, that made millions of dollars, and at no point did nobody ever come along and ask him his recipe? Whatever. And I'm not even gonna stand for the fact that he didn't even know. This man found a way to make $1 million before the age of 32.
I mean, think about this though. It didn't start at 32. He's like, this was like 3 or 4 years in the making. So
That's what I'm saying. He did it before he was 32.
somebody started giving him money at like 20 something, 28,
Yeah, he
20.
found a
And so,
way. Yeah.
so he like, and never thought to say, what's your financial backing? Or what's your financial thoughts on this? What's your, what are you going to do when you go live on the stock market?
Not
When
to
you
mention
become
he
fed
had to
when
learn
you
this
become
from somebody
traded.
else. So who is
Right.
it that he was? Don't tell me he wasn't on Google somewhere or in the library pulling up books, talking to somebody on the dark web about how to come up because
Yeah.
he not smart. Granted, there is no perfect crime because he got caught. I mean, there is no perfect crime, period. However, you can't tell
Right.
me that he went somewhere doing his research to be where he's sitting at right now. Because it's, you know what I'm saying? Him stealing is where it got him in a federal penitentiary. Like you can't tell me he didn't know the definition of being deceitful. Make it make sense.
Right.
Publicist. He won't
He
reoffend.
just
We don't know that.
he was just a numbers guy. I mean, I
He probably
understand.
was. He found a way
I
to
under
work them numbers.
Yeah, I understand that, like I said, 1,000 people, $1,000, $1,000,000. Boom. There you are. But at the same time, you can't just be like, those people want paid back. Those people are, that investment isn't like they're just not handing it to you. You know, that's an investment. That's
Yeah,
so
ain't no free
so
money. Ain't
you
no
have
such
to
thing.
take so you have to take that money and you have to turn it into something. And if they want their money back, you have to give them that money back with whatever
Yeah,
interest that you agreed upon. But at the same time, you gave some 28-year-old kid some money and thought, "Wow, I'm doing pretty good here." And then when he was stupid enough to be stupid, you were upset. Who's the stupid one here?
the one sitting in a penitentiary
It's the
eating
one
top
sitting in the
ramen.
penitentiary, or the one that decided to hand
The
whatever
one
amount
that
of money
the
to.
well, I mean, in all actuality, in good faith. I mean, you think about it. Somebody be like, invest $20 in me, and then next thing they see a return. He probably had some type of Ponzi scheme where he was able to show them how they can get a return on their investment within a short amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Criminals think they're creative, but they're not smart. They're stupid. They
And
smart, but they
and
stupid.
and honestly, if he kept things going, like if he had just made it an exchange like he said, it would have never mattered. He could have spent all the money that he wanted to, all of whatever. Because like I said, it's not a federally, he was not in a federal exchange. But when
Yeah,
when he went full tilt on it and became a federally traded deal, well then that's when things went down. But at the same point, he had a great idea. It was a good idea, and at that point, he was the front runner to get that. So there was some talent there. It wasn't just a full Ponzi scheme, but it ended up being that way. I think he saw the numbers and just thought this is going to last forever. I can just pull whatever I want out, and people are going to come in. And what hurt him was a bank asked for their $1.3 billion back, and he didn't have it to give them.
I want my
So
money back. Give me my dollar back.
yeah, let's let me get my investment back. So,
Yeah.
but yep. Oh, the producer for Nirvana died 61.
Is that a music group? I really don't know who Nirvana is.
You're like a music person.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, it's not
only
your genre, but yes,
it's not my genre. But I listen to a little bit of everything. But
it's a classic.
at
It's one
least
of
I
the
didn't say it's
larger.
at the store.
I would put Nirvana in that in the category of like it's like the 70s. It was they weren't like a 70s. They were kind of
Were they
like
like
Pink
the beat, not the
Floyd.
Beatles? Oh, okay. I know who Pink Floyd is.
So I would think they were bigger than Pink Floyd.
Mm.
Um they didn't have as long of a run because I think it was Kurt Cobain was Nirvana.
And we are talking about something that's before my time.
Does that matter? Yeah, it was Kurt Cobain
Yeah.
was was the lead singer of Nirvana. And he killed himself in '94. So
Mm.
not really before your time, but before your time.
But if they was in the 70s, that's before my time, honey. In the 70s, I was still.
I think they were actually more early '80s,
Oh,
late
that's still before my time.
until '94.
That's after
So
my time.
how old were you in '94?
I was two.
Well, you should have been listening to Nirvana then.
I was listening to Barney
In
and
'94,
Caillou and whoever
I was
else.
I was 12.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, He was the legendary producer of Nirvana and the Pixies, and then others, I guess. So he died at
Who was it that
61.
died? Did they have OJ's funeral yet?
Um, I mean, didn't you see the parade with the white Bronco and all that? Or no, that wasn't it. No, I'm
When I
I
found
would
out
think
OJ died, I wasn't even at home. I was in North Carolina.
I would guess they did, but I would guess that there wasn't like a giant like fanfare to it,
Oh, okay.
just because of the last, he had some major falling out. I don't know if you were heard about all of the killing of the Goldman family, and that he was exonerated from that. So that obviously is not something he did. But then he wrote a book about if he did, this is how he would have done it. Um, and then he went to jail for assaulting a guy who had bought his sports memorabilia at a auction, but was he didn't think it was a legal auction, so it was all his stuff. So he assaulted a guy with a gun.
That's when they had he went to jail in Las Vegas or something like that, right? Or in
Yep,
Nevada,
yep,
and then they
yep.
gave him parole.
Yeah, he had been out for the last, I think, 5 or 6 years.
Okay,
But he
yeah, I
but
remember. I remember
he had
watching his thing
cancer,
for parole.
so
Yeah,
he wasn't doing too well health wise. So
at least they let him out, and he was able to die at, hopefully at his home. Luckily, he was not in a jail cell.
I mean, right, right, yeah. I don't know that he had any money, but sad way to like just great career, charismatic dude. Seemed like he had most everything that you could want, and then it's just like you just don't know what a person's going through.
It's true. Why they
So
say be kind to people. You just never know.
yep. Hey, did you see that the Boeing? I think it was Tuesday. Let me see if I can find it real quick here. Boeing was getting ready to shoot a rocket off on Tuesday.
And they had to stop because of something wrong with their calculations or something, right?
Did they? I didn't. I didn't see. I didn't get the chance. I was gonna bring it up, and I didn't get a chance to see the whole like.
I don't think they did it. They end up doing it. I could be wrong about the calculations being wrong. That don't sound right. Maybe I just made that up. My bad. That was fake news.
That was fake news. That was fake. Let me see. I think it was this one. No. Yep. Starliner set to launch. Let's see. This has been, but like, so they've been trying to launch it since 2020.
Oh, they might as well go
Um,
ahead and just stop. It don't take 4
yeah.
years
Well,
to put something from the ground to the air now.
because of COVID, they delayed it, and then um they had a launch or they tried to launch. Was off by 11 hours while a 2023 launch was scrubbed due to adequate parachute lines. Like at this point, if you're the person getting ready to uh, getting ready to launch off of a Boeing anything, do you trust the Boeing engineers?
I
Do
don't trust anyone that works for Boeing
do you do you trust like
because
s-
too many
who
casualties.
is to blame here? Is it the engineers or management or maintenance? Like who?
Everybody. Anybody who did not do quality control checks, anybody whose job it was to put it together, anybody who signed off the paperwork and said that yes, everything was good to go, and anybody who knew about it and didn't do anything about it and then made sure that nobody crossed all their T's and dotted their I's is at fault. The
So,
person who hired the engineer is at fault because why are you hiring people who are careless?
what do you have to say about the 2 whistleblowers that died?
They did that because they couldn't take the pressure
The
because they
the
knew
the
something.
whistleblowers, the whistleblower,
Yeah,
the one died. He didn't kill himself.
he knew something that was going to be detrimental.
Yeah,
That's my take on it.
yeah, but what do you like? Are you saying that someone killed him, and so because he knew something that was going to be detrimental, or are you saying that he killed himself with a rare fungus?
And then in my mind, I think that somebody probably set him up to be killed because they knew that he knew something that was detrimental. It's gonna
And
come out though, whatever
and the
that was.
guy and the guy that had really everything to live for him because he was going to win the lawsuit, and he had plans beyond Boeing, but then decided to shoot himself. You think that guy just couldn't take the pressure?
The pressure, for sure, because you realize that once you sit yourself in that seat, you gotta be able to take heat from both sides.
I'm
So the number
I'm
one
not that
question is
cynical.
they gonna ask you is why did you notice and you didn't say nothing about it sooner?
Yeah,
And then the pressure of the fact that if you know something, imagine having thousands of people. I don't know if thousands of people have died, but are we gonna say at least 100, if that? I don't know. Don't quote me exactly on the statistics, but imagine having people's lives and their deaths on your conscience, and you could do something about it,
but your absolution is that you were the one that did something about it.
right?
Like you
And
were
but
the one that
now,
blew the whistle.
true. And but now, but did you? Why did you? What caused you to blow the whistle?
I mean, you're the whistleblower, so there was issues. So you blew the whistle. You said, "Hey, there was issues," and I
But how long did you know about it? Did something piss you off in order for you to finally blow that whistle? How we know you wasn't in on it?
right, right. That's true. Like you were complacent for how many years or how long or whatever. Yeah, that's
So
true.
because you didn't get that promotion, now you gonna go run and be a tattletale. No problem. But you just as guilty of if you knew about it when you first found out about it and you didn't say nothing.
True. True.
So
That is
what
a
you
good
need?
that is a good other side of the coin on that. Like I would have
Yeah.
said, I kind of thought, how much did the Clintons owe, or how much was Boeing owing the Clintons, and this guy's ready to take down Boeing. So the Clintons just like offed him in a Clinton-y kind of way. Like guy just all of a sudden the loose ends are just tying themselves up.
Well,
But yeah, I mean maybe you're right. Maybe he didn't maybe he knew too much, but he knew he was part of the problem himself. And so he
exactly.
knew that he was going to be, you know,
He was gonna have to answer to it as well.
he was going to answer to it as well, and decided just it didn't normally if you're going to answer to it, you want somebody else to answer with you.
That's true.
Because normally like if you're the whistle, and this isn't me like saying no you're wrong or anything, this is just me like throwing another monkey wrench in things and saying that like most of the time, like they're going to give you state's evidence if you take down the big dog. Like so
Hmm.
if you're testifying against, most of the time they're going to give you immunity for
Yeah.
testifying against a multi-billion-dollar corporation. So I don't know. It just it all seems hinky to me, but I just read what I see, and that's you know that's where we're at on it. But you know, so at this point, like I don't know that I'm going to go up in a spacecraft shot at thousands of miles an hour, thinking that I'm going to trust any bolts or anything that's a
Not if it came
a
from
uh,
Boeing.
a
Okay, not right
Boeing
now.
a Boeing engineer, maintenance guy, or anything put on there. That's not
We need to double check they quality control auditors.
That's like saying, "Here, put on this baseball helmet. I'm going to test these baseball bats on this helmet to see how good they are." Nope. No,
Mm-mm.
I'm good. I'm good.
No, sir. No, thank you. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the Met Gala? I mean, you're kind of
I
our
did not. I
no.
told you, been busy. No, I did not. I mean,
It's
I
been
vaguely
crazy.
see some of the pictures. Um,
Um,
what was
I
the
knew
most
that
craziest thing?
they were making fun of some of them for not being able to walk up the stairs because of their crazy
I saw
outfits
something
and
about
stuff.
Kim Kardashian. I did see something about her, and I guess she had. Somebody said she reorganized her organs just so she could fit in a dress and breathe. And I was like, oh my gosh, she did look
Probably.
snatched. Not gonna hold you, she did look good. She looked very good in her dress. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to like see any of the looks or any of none of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, all I saw was that and it was just a headline that they were making fun of some of them for not being able to get up the stairs after they threw themselves in this like tiny outfits.
the can barely walk. Most of
Right.
them, some of them don't even eat for like days just to fit in
Right.
their outfit. Now, if I gotta do all that, I ain't going to nothing like that. That's silly.
Uh.
Days without eating, no,
Right. Right. Yeah.
that don't make no sense.
Yep. Well, did you win anything on the Kentucky Derby?
I did not.
Man, I
I did
almost
not
bet on
even
Mystic
bet.
Dan. I almost bet on him, and I even told my wife like 3 times. For some reason, I think I should bet on Mystic Dan, and then I didn't, and then he won.
So basically, what you saying is you cheated us out some money.
Well, I mean, I made a couple bucks back. I just didn't bet on Mystic Dan.
Shaking my head. Do better.
I got I
We
got
could have been
second
over here
place.
millions.
I bet on second place, and he was only like 18-1, so you'd have made like $20.
Oh, well, I'm gonna
I
speak
mean,
millions.
it was $2. It's a $2 bet, so you would have made $36 or $39 or something. $40 total. So, which would have been nice. I mean, I'd have gone to Taco Bell since that's all that it'll pay for anymore. Buy a pizza, one, but
Well, yeah, no, I didn't
yeah,
even see. Like I said, I've been not been doing life, like literally, like been busy. So I haven't.
I
I saw that they did it last week, but
yeah,
I didn't catch nothing about
man,
the
I was like,
races.
I did some burgers, and we kind of sat down about the same time as we had the burgers done, and just watched it, and that was about it. I had put in some bets about a couple hours ahead of time just to kind of make sure I got them all in and everything, and nothing major. $20. No, $15. I only bet 15 this year, so got about half back.
At least you didn't take 1.8 or $50,000 loss.
Right, right. No, definitely never do that. But
Couple of
like
dollars, that's okay.
I can literally go to the track with like $20 and spend the whole night just having a good time.
Yeah.
Normally, I don't come home with $20, but hey, there's been a couple times where it paid off enough that I got to eat while I was there. So
It's the experience that counts.
yeah, I mean I just enjoy it because my grandfather and stuff like that. Just the connection I have with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, like during the Kentucky Derby, that last turn towards home, like that's just like for some reason because of the way the guy calls it, that just remembering, growing up at that, just that call, and here they come towards the final turn towards home. I get a little teary eyed. I can't. I'm not gonna lie. I just
Mm-hmm.
so, but Yeah, it was cool. I like the guy who was calling it didn't see Mystic Dan right off the bat. He was still calling one of the other horses that ended up in like fifth or sixth was coming up hard, but fell off at the end. And
Mhm.
I was like, he's coming on the. I'm like, he's on the rail. He's coming. He's gonna win. And yeah, I was like, no, get up there. But this goes to show you though, like it was a $2.3 million horse that this like $100,000 horse just beat. Yeah, the horse that Mystic Dan beat, Sierra Leone, was a $2.3 million horse that an Irish stables that has won everything. I mean, it's like Dunmore is like one of the biggest stables in the world. Like they win
That's
everything,
crazy.
but they've never won the Kentucky Derby, and they paid 2.3 million. And I told my wife, like, I bet heavily on Sierra Leone over um that whatever what is it, fear. Well, I don't remember the other horse's name. Fierceness or something like that. And I told her, I said at $2.3 million, you cannot buy the Kentucky Derby, and that's what they're trying to do. And I said I just can't see him winning, but I'm going to bet him because I think he's the best horse.
Mhm.
And I still put a couple dollars on Forever Young and the other Japanese horse because don't ever turn your back on the Japanese.
True story.
We learned that in World War II. Too
True
soon?
story.
Too soon. Oh well. So, Lady D, I think this is the time of the show where we ask you, what'd you learn?
Um, I need to invest in cryptocurrency.
You're going to invest or you're not going to invest in cryptocurrency?
I need to.
Need to, yeah, yeah. I have invested in cryptocurrency. Like you asked, like if I had invested in FTX, I didn't at the time. Because like I said, at the time it was like you really needed about $1,000 or $2,000 to get in and make good money. I'm looking for more of like the home run shot where I spend $100 and I make 1,000. And
That's the
so
part I want. Yeah.
I mean and so I'm not always investing. I'm looking for that like the day that Spirit went down, that kind of investment. Like
Mhm.
I think I spent $75 and made 400 on that day. So, on that week. So that's, and cryptocurrency, a lot of it is that you're going to make your money on the news of the cryptocurrency. So like I was in on Shiba Coin, um, and like they had the news that they were going to be traded on one of the main platforms, and then the main platform didn't end up trading like people wanted them to, and so like all of a sudden it went up and up and then crashed because they're still traded in the wallets like everything else because
Mhm.
FTX went down. So, but yeah, cryptocurrencies is can do it. I normally look at options.
You do my research so I can
Yeah,
find a way
get it.
to come up.
Educate, educate, educate.
Yeah.
Think for yourself.
Maybe a new
So,
hobby.
right. There are worse. I mean, betting on the
True story.
horses. uh, but yeah. So again, we're here at the end, and I have to say, get on there, get our merch. Still there, still available, still pretty cool. We're right now designing some new stuff for the new year. Kind of, it seems like April is kind of the end of our year. We just kind of fall off for some reason in April, and then May, June, July we kind of kick back up and run. And I think this year we're going to kick up and run pretty hard here. for the next few months. I'm pretty excited about it. I think we've got some new ideas and some stuff like that to kind of get the word out a little bit better, more regularly. So I think it's going to be great. So get on our merch, get into subscriptions now early before we get some extra value into it, and we have to raise our rates, And all of our subscriptions are lifetime subscriptions, so as long as you pay the subscription, you're in at that rate. So $1.25 right now gets you ad-free podcasts. And I'm sure as we go into things, there will be added value to those things, to the subscriptions. For $2.50 you get the whole shebang at this point. So get in there, get some of that knowledge, start thinking for yourself, and like we always say,
Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcasts. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.